Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Gaming Fo here, back with another video. Talking about the NBA today, ranking top point guards. It's funny, every time I watch these videos, my voice gets deeper and deeper. From a couple years ago, if you guys go back, also leave a like on those videos. If you guys go back, my voice is super high. It's actually pretty funny to watch. Hopefully this records this time. This is the second time I'm doing this, unfortunately. It's definitely not as fun doing this the second time, but you know, it is what it is. Definitely gonna start off. Okay, so my rankings. My rankings are. I got MVP, All Star, Average Starter, Below Average Starter, and Scrub. Scrub doesn't mean these guys shouldn't be in the NBA, but this means that they're just bottom of like the line starting point guards. Like potentially shouldn't even be starting point guards. And starting off with Darius Garland, I'm gonna have him at Scrub. Not a great rookie season in my opinion. He still has some potential, but struggles with efficiency, struggles with turnovers. Not a great passer, not a great playmaker. People were saying he could be like the next Steph Curry or Trae Young like, but I'm not seeing that right now. Definitely a good shooter, but still needs to develop better defensively and playmaking to even approach that kind of level. Next, we got Chris Paul. I'm gonna put him at All Star. Chris Paul has been pretty good this season. Wasn't an all-star the last 2 years, but definitely should have been. Struggled with injuries and efficiency over at Houston, but now in Oklahoma City, definitely kind of revitalized his career. Definitely playing a lot better than last year. No doubt an all-star. Trae Young, put him at all-star. Great shooter, great passer, not a great defender, and I'm not convinced that his scoring really helps the team win. The Hawks aren't great this year. He's been individually great, but again, I feel like their roster could be better. So, or they could be better with the roster they have. So, honestly, Trae Young's ceiling is MVP, but his floor right now is All Star. Oh, okay, yeah. Malcolm Brogdon, All Star. Definitely a lot better than last year. Improved his playmaking a lot. Was leading the league in assists at one point. Definitely a great shooter, really efficient. Not a great athlete, but definitely good enough to where he's an All Star. Didn't actually make the All Star team in the East, but definitely was up there. It could have been him. It could have been Bradley Beal. Could have made it in that guard spot. It could have been Kemba. So, well, Kemba was a starter, but you know what you guys get what I'm saying. Kendrick Nunn. I'm gonna put him an average starter. In terms of pure point guard, scrub. But in terms of player, average starter, not a great passer, not a great playmaker. Definitely an offensively minded score first point guard. Pretty good defensively. Fits in that Miami system pretty well. Definitely fits what they're trying to do down there. So I put him at average starter. Kemba's an all-star this year. Kemba's an all-star last couple of years. His scoring's down from last year, but now he's sharing the ball with Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Hayward and Marcus Smart. So that's to be expected. Still a great playmaker, great scorer. Not a great defender, but a pretty good team defender. Ben Simmons also All Star. Now, a lot of people they say he's overrated. That his lack of shot doesn't make him an All Star. I don't want to take away from anything else that he does great. He's a great defender. He's a great playmaker. He's a great inside scorer. Not a great free throw shooter, obviously, but definitely an All Star. Westbrook also All Star. Now Westbrook's interesting. Last couple weeks of the season before it got shut down, Russell Westbrook was more than an all-star. He was probably right around here. If there was an in-between area, he'd be there. But started off pretty poorly. Not great efficiency early in the season, chucking up threes. The Rockets weren't doing as well. Definitely has been improving now, so that's good. Markel Fultz, put him at below average. He's having a nice rebound season. Everybody thought he was a bust. I still see potential in him, but I don't think that shot will ever really truly develop. His shot form's completely wonky. Definitely not what people expected, but not a bust, not a scrub. Derrick Rose, average starter, coming off the bench this year a lot, so I'm not sure why he's in that average. Why he's a starter, but 3-point shooting went down from last year, but overall great spark, great scorer, uh, willing defender. Not the athlete that he was in his younger days, but he's still good. Ja Morant, average starter. Defensively definitely needs a lot of work. back in Murray State, he was one of the worst defensive players in college basketball. Definitely stepped up a little bit this year, but not a great defender. Great score with both hands. He's surprised everyone with a shot. I definitely didn't expect him to be shooting 37% from three. Great passer. Obviously freakish athlete. So you know, Eric Bledsoe, average starter. Now a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I guess me, I definitely value Eric Bledsoe a little more. I see him as a fringe all star. I see his defense, his playmaking as pretty good, but his lack of a shot, his underperformance in the playoffs, erratic decisions occasionally, erratic, not erotic. definitely, definitely in the average starter. Ricky Rubio also average starter. Not a great shooter, probably one of the worst guys in this tier, but his playmaking is great. He's really helped elevate the Suns this year. They're still not great, but huge improvement over last year. They have a real point guard now. DeJounte Murray, I'm going to put him at that below average starter. I like DeJounte Murray. I'm not a huge fan of his game, though. He's not a great shooter. He's not a great playmaker. He's mainly just a great defender. He's not a scrub by any means, but I feel like hasn't lived up to expectations. But he did come off that injury last year, so yeah. Devontae Graham, average starter, very poor efficiency. But on the Hornets, they need scoring, and he's been providing that. Great three-point shooter, but everywhere else, he's ice cold from those areas. Definitely fallen off a little bit this season. Was potentially an all-star, not really an all-star now. Average starter is good for him. A lot of people probably won't agree with me on this one. D'Lo, scrub. No, I'm kidding. Average starter. D'Angelo Russell, I feel like he regressed from last year. His scoring's up, but that's been on terrible teams. I'm not seeing any improvement in defense. His playmaking's a little down from last year. He's still a good shooter. He still controls the pace of an offense, but until he's in a winning situation, I'm not going to put him quite at that all-star spot. Definitely not up there with guys like Kemba and Westbrook. De'Aaron Fox, average starter. This one's pretty obvious. Not a below-average starter, not an all-star. He can get there potentially. I could see him being even an MVP candidate one year, but not right now. He has to get that shooting up. His shooting's regressed from last year, probably around 32% from three, I believe, or at least at one point in the season, that's where it was at. Struggled with injuries early on in the season. Came back a little bit, but not at that all-star quite yet. Lonzo Ball, I'm putting him at average starter. I feel like Lonzo's interesting. He's a tall guard, a good defender, good playmaker, good rebounder, but the lack of efficiency, is it really hits him hard. It definitely affects his game a lot. If Lonzo Ball could just shoot just a little bit better, his overall impact would be so much higher on the team. So I'm gonna keep him here for now. Could be below average, but I think average start is fine. Damian Lillard's been MVP level this year. 60 point after 60 point game. It was crazy. Trying to do everything to lift the Blazers out of their slump. Had that groin strain at that All-Star break, but still MVP candidate. Kyle Lowry, All-Star. A lot of people, or no, not MVP, All-Star. A lot of people might not agree. I like Kyle Lowry. I think he's pretty good. I think he's a good playmaker, a willing defender, good shooter. Doesn't have much size. Not a great one-on-one defender, but definitely an all-star. Kyrie, all-star. This season, Kyrie's not been great. I mean, he averaged 28, but struggled with injury, had that surgery, season-ending surgery. I think in a great year, Kyrie could be an MVP candidate. His floor is obviously all-star, but he's been last couple years, or not last couple, like maybe this year and last year, not great years for him. DeLon Wright, below average. Not much to say about him. Okay playmaker, okay athlete, okay shooter. Pat Bev, probably either below average starter or average starter. He's not a great shooter, not a great playmaker. He really makes his mark on the defensive end. I'm going to keep him here for now, but I might move him down later. Mike Conley's been terrible this year. I don't know, scrub or below average starter. Not a great shooter this year at least. Not a great playmaker, struggling with injuries, struggling mightily with efficiency. Because Mike Conley's career so far being in All-Star contention for many years in a row. He historically great, not historically, but previously great playmaker, good shooter, pretty clutch. I would put him at below average for this year, but with the way he's been playing, I mean, probably below scrub, honestly. Jamal Murray, average starter. He has that all-star potential. I could see him getting up there, although, with his social media recently, definitely an all-star. Um, yeah, he's been okay. Ish Smith, below average starter. Not really much to say here. I mean, he's okay. He's a decent playmaker, not a great athlete, not a great scorer. Yeah, it's Smith. Kobe White, pretty good rookie season actually. Started off kind of slow, but last couple weeks been on fire. I'm not a huge fan of his game. I don't think he's a good shooter. I don't think he's a good enough playmaker, but I do see some all-star potential in there. Kai Bowman, scrub. I mean, nothing against Kai Bowman. He's a rookie, I think. Just overall, not a great player. The Warriors definitely not going to have him starting next year. Frank Ntilikina, I'd actually have Elfrid Payton as starting point guard, but they have Frank. Frank's not bad. I like Frank. I like his defense. I like his playmaking. His offense is terrible, which is why I have him at scrub. Any plus that he gives on defense is immediately a minus when the ball goes on offense, right? You don't want the ball in his hands. But I like his playmaking potential. I like his athleticism. I like that he's 6'5" point guard. And last but not least, LeBron James. Yeah, there's really not much to be said here. LeBron James, in my opinion, MVP of this year. No doubt about it. Nothing else to be said. I mean, it's LeBron. LeBron. I mean, what else are you gonna say? He's been crazy good this year. Great playmaking. Really kind of changed his game. It went from score first to more pass first this year. He's always been a great passer, but this year he's just taken it on a whole new level. And you guys, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. Haven't uploaded in a while. A couple more videos coming your way, hopefully. Although every time I say that, it never happens. But I think I will make a tier ranking list for this too. So, for like other positions. So if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and